This video is over Unit 3, Lesson 15, Keyboard Input. First thing you're going to do is click on the Overview page. And then here in Canvas, you're going to read the Learning Goals, where you're going to learn about using conditionals to react with keyboard input, and how you can move sprites in response to the keyboard input. Go ahead and click Next to go on to the lesson and assignments. So new code that you're going to learn is the key down code that you see here. So you're going to learn about how using this code can move sprites across the screen using that keyboard input. Click Next after you've read that lesson. Here's the assignment. So you go ahead and click Keyboard Input and make a copy. Here is your worksheet for Lesson 15. You have several skill building activities, a practice, an assessment, and some challenges that you need to complete. Let's go to code.org. In code.org, we are on level 1, which is a prediction level. So from here, you just drag down the window so that you can see. And it just says do this. Read the program carefully. Make a prediction about what will happen when you press the space bar and write it in the box below. Be specific. After you type in what you think is going to happen, then run the program. While the program is running, place the space bar on your keyboard. Were you correct? Were you surprised? Discuss this with a classmate. Click up top to go to level 2. On level 2, this is called Changing Sprite. This program that you're looking at uses the key down block to detect whether a specific keys are being pressed down. Do this. Run the code and try pressing the P and the H keys. Look inside the if statement to see how the code works. Add a block inside the third if statement to change the animation to a different animal. So here down below you have 3 if statements. If the key down H, so if you press H down, then it's going to change the animation of the sprite to a hippo. If you press the P key down, it's going to change the animation to a pig. So from here, you need to add another block from the sprites toolbox into this area here so you can change your animation to a different character. So let's run this. When you click H, it changes to the hippo. When I click R, it changes to the nothing happens. When I click P, it changes to the pig. So you need to add a code in here, a sprite block in here to set that animation to a rabbit. And then once you figure that out, then you would click the share button, copy your code, and paste it into your assignment. And then hit enter to make it be a link. Then go to level 3. So here on level 3, you are going to change your sprite's position based on key presses in the same way that you change the animations in level 2, the activity before this. So you're going to go ahead and click run to see what this program does. It creates this ladybug at 200, 200 on the grid, and it sets it as a ladybug, the animation. And then here in the draw function, it says do this, add an if statement inside your draw loop. So under control, you have your if statement, and you're going to drag that in. Then you're going to need to add something into this if statement to check whether the right arrow key has been pressed down, and then add code inside the conditional, which is right here inside of this conditional statement, to move the sprite right if the right arrow is down. So just to give you a hint here, you can go back and look at what level 2 was, but you're going to use the key down code. And you're going to put the key down code into this if statement box right here. And then you're going to change this. Then inside so that it's right instead of up. Then in here, so if the key down is pressed to, the right key down is pressed, then you want the sprite to move to the right. This is where you're going to put the counter pattern in there. So if you don't remember the counter pattern, then you need to go back to lesson 12 and review the counter pattern that shows you how to move the sprite left or right or up or down. That's sprite movement, lesson 12, the counter pattern. That's going to go in this place. So once you got that figured out, and when it works, when you press the right key down and the ladybug goes right, then you have completed this activity on level 3, and then just click your share button and get that link, copy it, and then you would paste that into your worksheet. Then you go back to code.org and you would go to level 4. Now on level 4, it's called Gears with Conditionals. So you've been given code. So it says, let's make the gears spin only when the space key is being held down. So if I run this, the gears are moving constantly. But I only want them to move if I press the gear down. So it tells me here, do this. Add code that checks whether the space key is being pressed down. All right, so that's an if statement. So you go to control and if, and then you would bring that if statement in, and then you would start putting in there, just like we did before, in the beginning of this if statement, you're going to use this key down code and put it in there. And then from there, you're going to make your changes. Now, in this if statement, it says add code that checks whether the space key is being pressed down. So that's what you have here. And it needs to be the space key. And then inside of here is where your condition is that the gears are rotating. So you're going to have to move something from below into this area so that it only happens when the space key is pressed down. So you got to figure that part out. Okay? Once you figure that out, and once you have it set where when you run this that it only rotates when the space bar is down, then go ahead and click your share button and copy the completed link, your completed activity, and paste it in there. Then you would go to level 5. And in level 5, you have some choices here. Level 5, you only need to choose one, it says, because this is your practice. So you can either choose fish with arrows, where you make the fish move left when the left arrow key is pressed down. So I can choose that one if I want. You can choose one of those 3. And when you run this, you can see that the orange fish is moving, but you're not pressing a key. So follow the directions here, and you want to only happen the fish, all of the fish to move, if the key down code set to left is pressed down. So you're going to need to add, it says add an if statement to check whether the left arrow key is pressed down. And then move the commands for the moving fish inside of that if statement. Okay, so you're going to be using this key down code, you're going to be using this if statement and bringing it over, and then the key down code that goes into that if statement, and then bring in your counter pattern. Just here's a hint. Here's the counter pattern for the orange fish to make that orange fish move left. Also up here, remember next to instructions, you have your helps and tips that you can go back and you can review these pages that have help on it. But here is the counter pattern. I'm giving you a tip. Here's the counter pattern for the orange fish. You just need to recreate this for the blue and the green and make sure they're all within that if statement. Okay, so that's my tip for you on this one. Or you could click 5 and you could go choose the debug turtle movement. You could choose that one. If you don't want to do A, then do B. And then you would run this, and it says, hey, every time I click the left, it breaks the program. So if I go up, the turtle goes up. If I go right, it moves. If I click the down arrow, it moves. But when I click left, the turtle doesn't move. What is the bug? You need to fix it. So you need to read this code inside of the draw function and find out where is the error. There's an error in this code. You need to fix it. so that when the left key is pushed down, the turtle moves left. So you can choose to do that one. Or you can choose to do the other one, which is debug turtle movement 2. So this one has the turtle where when you run it, the turtle doesn't move. It just leaves a bunch of lines everywhere. So you want to run the program just like I'm showing you now and see where the bug is and then use the clues to fix it. Okay, so you would read through here and figure out what do you need to do to get that turtle to move. Okay, something is wrong. I'll give you a hint. Something is wrong in this draw function. Something or some lines, some of the lines need to be moved out of the draw function and above it. That's my hint to you if you're going to do this one. So again, with level 5, choose one of these only. When you're done, click the share button when you got it working, and then you're going to paste that over here into practice. Then you go to level 6, and on level 6, this is called move in all direction. So it says you can make a simple game that moves a sprite around the screen. Add 4 separate conditional statements that make the WingBot move in every direction. So here, your WingBot, your backdrop in your WingBot is being created. So if I run it, there's my WingBot. It also created my rainbow, and there's a background back there. Okay? So within here, they've already given you comments. Move left when the left arrow is pressed. Move right when the right arrow is pressed. Move up when the up arrow is pressed. Move down. So they've given you sections with the comments that you need to start with your if statement. So because that's your conditional. Remember, anytime you hear conditional, that's your if statement. So I already know, and I'll give you a little hint here, that you're going to put this if statement 4 times. Because you're going to have 4 separate if statements, one for left, one for right, one for up, one for down. And then inside these, you're going to put the key down code. And then inside the actual conditional statement in this area, you're going to input other code that is the counter pattern that's going to move the WingBot left, right, up, down. So you've done stuff like this. If you go back to several levels back in this lesson 15, you can see how the counter pattern is used. So I kind of gave you a hint to start you out there. Once you finish this and you can get that WingBot to move around when you click the left, right, up and down arrow keys on your keyboard, then you have successfully completed level 6, and then you would want to click the share button and get that link and then paste it in your assignment. Then you would go to level 7, and on level 7 it says choose A or B. So do not do the free play. So you're either going to choose key went down, so count how many times someone has clicked the space bar, and this one is changing animation. Uses a separate image for each direction of movement. So you get to choose which one you want to complete, and then when you have completed those, then you would click your share button, get the link, and then paste it into your assignment. And that is it for lesson 15 on keyboard input. Just a reminder, if you need help, then go back through the previous lessons or the previous levels in this lesson to figure out what code you need to use.